We're going to be doing some control arms on this Ram van. Okay, there's a snag on the driver's side that I'm going to show you how to take care of that snag. It's not like the passenger side. You got to do something a little bit different on the driver's side on this vehicle. So I'll show you later on in the video how to get past that snag. It's a huge snag, but it's not, it's easy to do. Yeah, it's easily correctable. So, yeah, let's get to it. Welcome back, Hayes Mobile Auto Repair, Jackson, Mississippi. We're gonna get right to it today. Lower control arms on this Dodge van. It's one of those minivans. It's a Ram. Did I say Dodge? Well, yeah. So, yeah, it's one of these minivans. I don't know what it is. Truth be told, it's called a Ram. It's just called a Ram. It's a van. So let's do a lower control arm on it. All right, got some new ones already. First thing you do is come down here and inspect your area. What you're gonna have to take off. Yes, we're taking off the control arm. And it looks like that sway bar is going to be in my way. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this these nuts on both sides. That way I can move this sway bar. It'll move for me because right now it ain't moving nowhere. Take off the tie rod end will be my next step, both sides. And I'm probably going to end up taking these bolts off like I normally do. Let's go ahead and knock out the stabilizer link and the tie rod ends on both sides. Let's get them off. 18 millimeter. I think I'm using a 19. An 18 would probably fit. 18 would probably fit. Gonna need an 18 on the stabilizer link. All right, let's do the lower tie rod end first then. When I train, people on this procedure, now we're not using a fork, we're just gonna use a hammer to get this off. I'll tell you what I tell them. What they'll do is I tell them to hit the spindle. That steel part right here, not the bolt, but what the bolt goes in. That's the spindle. All right, well, I tell them to hit it and they do this. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Hit that damn thing. I said, what are you afraid of? Hit that bitch. So if you hit it hard enough, don't hit the body. It'd be nice if you turn the wheel so you won't hit the body. Okay, get yourself a little space. All right, 2 hits. That vibration breaks it up inside and you can pull that tie rod end right off. Check everything while you're here. The tie rod feels good. Inner tie rod, there's no movement. Good deal. So let's get an 18. Now this one, sometimes the bolts won't come off, so you got to actually put some vice grips on the back of this, on the back of the joint, back here. And you're gonna hold the stud still. So let me get some vice grips. All right. All right, good. That's where I got it clamped on the back of that. There's a little nut on there. It's probably like a 15 millimeter. You can get it back there or get some vice grips and do that. All right, so let's go do the other side now. Now we can move this because we have the tie rod end off. Okay, we're trying to get to the lower control arm. This is our goal. everything, check everything. Stabilizer links are pretty tight, they're pretty new. Let's take off the tie rod end again. Alright, get the hammer, beat it out of there. Okay, again, turn the wheel all the way to the left. Hit the spindle. It's steel, you're not gonna hurt it. So that's not gonna do it. You gotta hit that thing. Alright, and you'll see it drop. Alright, that's all there is to it. Now again, you can start spinning this, and if you look at the stabilizer link again, now you can move that out of the way from the control arm so you can get it in easy and pull it out easier. All right, so we're going to do that. We're just going to kind of lift this up, see if we can hook it on the spring. Probably not going to work out for me. Kind of take the stabilizer link, pull it around to the back, and just rest the bolt on top of the strut. It'll be good enough. That way the stabilizer link will stay high for you. Okay? Okay, just pull it up. Need to take the axle nut off of it right there. And yeah, it's going to be easier because the stud actually goes up on the ball joint. It goes up, and right on top of that is the axle. So let's go ahead and remove the axle, and we'll go ahead and remove the strut 2 bolts from the strut, and that way we can get it to move this way now. Okay, let's take the nut off. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that like right now. See, it's wore out on the tip. You can see that. So it's not gripping really well. All right, let's go do the other side. Now I might want to mention, if you're doing this at home and you don't have air tools, just keep the brake pads, the caliper on there so someone can step on the brake while you use your big breaker bar or big ratchet and get that thing off. Make sure you put some penetrating oil on the studs and let them sit for 10, 15, 30 minutes before you get them all. Try to get them off. It'll make your life easier. All right, we got a new nipple on it. We got a brass one on it this time. All right, this is going to be a 21 millimeter wrench. So I got a 21 and I got a 24 connected to it like that for leverage, and this thing is really tight. Let's put you down. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was tight. No wonder my gun wouldn't get it off. I could barely get it off. Okay, I'm gonna get a hammer and hit the wrench on this one because there's really no room to pry it. So let me get a hammer. Now, if you have a long breaker bar, that would work just fine too. 22 millimeter socket on it. Actually, I think it's a 21. Let me double check. This is a 21. Yeah, it's a 21 socket. So let's break this loose. All right, 21 socket, deep well. All right, so that worked out for us. Just gonna break it loose. I get the rest off the gun. All right. All All right, got that off. Kind of tap on these bolts. And just pop right out of there. Like that. Kind of wiggle it. Wiggle the whole thing a little bit. Might have to get you a punch sometimes and punch them out of there. Okay, so we got 2 bolts out. Now the axle, you can push the axle in. Watch out for your ABS lines, otherwise the ABS light will come on because you broke the wire. So I should have done that first. Let's just loosen them up a little bit. Let's get some slack in it. Okay. And now let's go ahead and pull this. We can try to pull the axle out first. I'm gonna try to get the axle out first. All right, so got the axle out. So now what I can do is I can look straight down and get the socket on that from here. Get that socket and zip it off. All right, get your little penetrating oil, squirt it down on that nut down there. All right, long 12-inch extension down on that. Zip this thing off. And that was tight. All right, always consolidate your nuts. All right, so now what we can do, we can turn this all the way to the side and we can smack this with the hammer. Let's break it up a little bit and we'll be able to pop that out of there and pick this whole spindle up, everything connected. Well, you can take off the caliper if you want to. I'm not going to do it that way. We're just going to see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to smack this. Let's get it loose. All right, lay down on the ground on this one. It's nicer with a longer handle hammer too. Mine just disappeared one day, so I'm going to use this for right now. Man, these are new control arms on here. Why are they changing the control arms again? I really didn't feel a problem with this vehicle. You know, the problem that I felt was, you know, it had bad struts on it. So I don't know why they're doing this job. Let's see if it came loose. Let me get my fork. It come loose with beating on it, but the fork, I hit it one time and it just popped right off of there. So now we're loose. You take the fork out, and you see the gap. So now I should be able to pull this whole spindle up and out of the way. And I think I'm just gonna lay it, I'm gonna scoot the tire over here a little bit, and I'm just gonna lay the whole assembly on the tire so I can keep stress off of these wires and brake hoses. Okay. All right, guys. Got it sitting on the tire. Got the axle up out of the way. We're just going to pull everything up. We're going to pull everything up on top of the strut there. And on top of the strut, like we did before, over here. That way, the only thing left is this tie rod end, which I'm not going to worry about too much. It'll be fine right there, but I have clearance. So let's take off this nut right here. Then we'll come to the other side and we'll take that nut off right there. And we can get this control arm out of here and pop in a new one. This one's brand new. Look at the rubbers. It's got the sticker on, it's not worn out. I don't care. I don't care today. Let's get it done. We're gonna have to get a wrench on that to hold it. The nipple is leaking air. I do not like that. That looks like a 20. That looks like a 24 right there. Yeah, it's a 24. It's a 24 on that. It's a 24, guys. Alright, get your nut, put your nut back on your bolt. That's a good habit to create, especially when you're out here in the field, anywhere, even in the shop. Good habit to do. Put your bolts on there in case you kick one somewhere. Or alright, let's get the front. We can pull this thing out of here. Let's get the front. You got a little swivel on this one so I can get my gun in there. There's no nut on that side. Now I should be able to pull it out of there. And there it is. A little reassembly. I'm gonna put a little grease on there. It doesn't matter what kind of grease you use on here. You just want a little bit of grease on there, right? So just put a little bit of grease on there. And that should be fine. Yeah, nice and gooey. Okay, you can put a little bit on this side too if you want. There you go. Just like that. Looks good. All right, now we can get our new control arm in there. Let's break it out. Okay, we are ready to reassemble. I'm probably not gonna do the whole assembly with you. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Really would be nice that I have my hammer too, so we're good. So we can tap on this a little bit. Let's get it lined up the best you can. On the first shot. Okay, now that we have it in, we can go ahead and get our bolts started in here, put the nut on it, and go ahead and line up this hole and put it back in there. And you can start putting things back together again. Hey, one thing I want to mention when you're doing control arms, you know we're on jack stands right now, so everything is hanging a little bit lower. What I like to do, or what you should do, is just kind of lift up on the control arm, the lower control arm, just a little bit. Put it in like the rest position. You can do it this way too. And go ahead and tighten up the bolt, and that way it'll stay in this position. And that's good because sometimes when people put in control arms, they don't do that. They don't tighten things up when the vehicle is on the ground. You know, the The control arm is going to do that when it's on the ground. And they don't. They tighten it up when it's down here. And what happens is you'll start getting squeaking, squeaky, squeak, squeak when you hit bumps. It's because you didn't tighten it up in the rest position. So it's a good little tip as well. Let's get to the other side. Let's get the other control arm on first, and then we'll put everything back together again. I don't know, we can do it now. Let's go ahead and put it back together again. We'll do one at a time. Our next step is I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on these splines. Even though it came out pretty good, I just want to keep them lubricated in case you ever have to take this off again for some reason, changing the axle or whatever. It should come off fairly easily. All right, so we're gonna lube that up. Can we lube up anything else? No. So we're gonna pick this thing back up, put it back in position, make sure our wiring for our ABS sensor is routed correctly. Let's do it. Okay, which way do you go? Just like that. Keep a good firm grip on this spindle, okay? So you don't want to drop on your fingers or your foot or something like that. All right, we'll go ahead and put our nut back on it. Get our socket back on it. Looks like that's going to be a 19 millimeter. Yeah, the new nut is 19 millimeter, not 18. All right, that's good. We go ahead and put our ABS cable kind of back on there, half on there. We still got to get the axle in there. So let me pull the axle down. Kind of push in on the axle. And there it is. Kind of get the strut back in position. Right there. And let's get some bolts in there. I can't do this and hold the camera. So let me get a bolt ready. Trying to lift up on it. Put a bolt in it. Gotta wiggle a little bit, get the bolt in there. Get you a hammer, beat them in all the way. Okay. This time, go ahead and get your ABS wires back in position. Okay, like that. Looks good. We're not going to put that on yet because we got to get the other side done first. So, yeah, we're going to leave it like that. We're going to get these nuts on real quick, and then we're going to get the other side done. And you guys got it from here. You'll be done. So it didn't take too long to do either. So. All right, have a snag on the driver's side. Yes, there's a snag. I hate it when, you know, you see these from time to time, but this is the snag. You remember that bolt on the other side of the control arm? Yeah, it's hitting the transmission, so you can't pull it out. You can't get it out because it's hitting the transmission. So what you got to do is you're just going to have to get that motor up and out of the way. I'm not going to put the jack right now. Right now I'm not. Right here, lift up the motor because I know there's going to be a lot of stress on it. And I need that thing to move at least in half an inch. I need that engine to go up at least in half an inch. So up here on this motor mount, I'm going to take this 15mm bolt off of it. Yeah, 15mm bolt, zip it off of there, and then put the jack under the pan nice and, or put a block of wood if you want to. I just need an inch though, so I should be okay. So I'm gonna pull that bolt out of there, right there, and I'm gonna jack this side of the motor up. And I should be able to pull that bolt out. Let's see. All right, I see the motor drop down a little bit. All right, so I got the long bolt out of there. I'm gonna drop this jack down on the jack stands. I hate snags. Ridiculous snags. Why do they even design it like that? They must think they have, you know, super control arms. You know, they never wear out. I don't know what the deal is. It's crazy. So, I try to get you over here so you can see the bolt is right there. See if I can get this engine up just a little bit. I mean, the trans. There it is. All right, I might be able to get it out now. There it is. Problem solved. Okay, so now we can pull out the control arm. That is the only snag on this Dodge Ram control arm that you're going to find. Everything else is pretty quickly. I can get it. Usually you can get this done if you got all the right tools and you got air. You can get a job done like this. I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, less than an hour. The book calls for quite a bit more, but as long as you got the right tools and you know the process, you can get it done fairly quickly. If you do it like I did it, there should be no problems, guys. This one is out. All right. Okay. And that will be the end of the video. Peace. That's it, guys. Hayes Mobile Auto Repair, man. We're in Jackson, Mississippi.